world's biggest energy company, Shell, has announced that it will invest $20 billion in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Now, the funds will support offshore oil projects, infrastructure and gas supply for domestic use and export. Shell says the investment reflects long-term confidence in Nigeria's economy and energy potential. This move marks a major return of international investment to Nigeria's energy sector, highlighting the positive impact of recent economic reforms by the current administration. Now joining us for this conversation is the CEO of Phoenix Infrastructure Development Limited and founder of Moserado Investment Limited, Ifeanyi Ajilochukwu. Good morning, sir. How's it going? How are you doing? Good morning to you. All right, we're going into this very, very beautiful conversation. Just before, you joined us, we're speaking about the president being the chief marketer of Nigeria. He's in Turkey having conversations with trade, just trying to bring investment to Nigeria. And we see the story about Shell. We're looking at $20 billion. That's quite a huge amount of money. But I want to go a layman with this. What is this investment going to do for Nigeria? If this actually happens, what is it going to do for our oil and gas? $20 billion.
Okay, so it's important that we understand, and I like what you said, if it happens.
Yeah.
So the investment hasn't happened yet. It's like an invitation to take our money.
Okay.
So Shell is saying here, we've operated Bonga. So Bonga is Nigeria's first deepwater discovery. It's prolific. It's produced about $1 billion barrels so far.
Yeah.
Shell is saying, I'm willing to invest more to keep this thing going. So Bonga Southwest here is the same basin. Okay, so Shell was doing Bonga. Last year, they took FID to do Bonga North, and then they're saying, based on things I've seen, I'm willing to put another $20 billion to do Bonga Southwest to ensure that production keeps on going. It's good for us as a country because typically, every year, your oil declines naturally. So it's a well. The more you produce, the more it declines.
Yeah.
You have to invest more to keep this going. So you can say, with this investment, we are sure that there will be stable production and increased production. The Nigerian government has tried so far to increase production.
Yeah.
When this government got into power, we were doing on the average 1.2 billion barrels a day of oil.
Yeah.
We're doing about 1.8 million barrels, per day right now.
Yeah.
And the idea is to go to 3 million barrels per day. This is going to help that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you see, when the layman there is hearing about the number of barrels we'll bring out a day and so on, they want to wonder, they actually wonder, say, why Shell? Because there'd been quite a number of controversy concerning Shell and the host communities. What is the community relation package when it comes to this new investment that they are talking about? They had done $7 billion. Obviously, it was really nice. That's why they want to put another $20 billion. What is in it for the communities?
Okay, so let's take a step back, right? First of all, the Nigerian government has put in place certain reforms, starting from the last administration into this one, and you're beginning to see them happen. And this administration is now implementing the PIA. So the PIA is the Petroleum Industry Act.
Yes.
And it sets aside in a very transparent manner and certain manner the way the oil and gas industry is run. So inside there are host community funds and host community activities that address the host community as per the law. So what we've lacked in the past is transparency and certainty as to what can be done and what should not be done. The PIA already sets that. What this administration has done is to deal with physical issues. So, and you say, why Shell? Why not Shell? You've seen some divestments happen in the last, say, 10 years, where Shell sold the first set of assets, the 30 series, so 3034, to people like Shoreline and to Seplat and ND Western. Then you saw another divestment round in 2013 to Aiteo, New Cross, Eroton. Now Shell is saying, I'm not leaving Nigeria. You now saw last year the Renaissance acquisition of 18 blocks. Shell is saying, I am leaving Nigeria onshore, where I have this misalignment with the community, and I'm going deep offshore, where I can do real business, proper business, and not be bogged down with host community issues. Let the Nigerians deal with Nigerians, since they understand themselves as an alignment. I will go deep offshore. I'll spend good money, create activity because the money was spent offshore and onshore, okay, without this conflict, while the PIA sets the framework for me to compensate the country at all levels, federal, state, and host communities.
Interesting. So I'm wondering, even though this is in line with the president's bid to say, okay, by so and so time, we'll be doing more than 2 million barrels per day, as against what we do currently. But the globally, major oil companies, major oil, what am I even saying, are actually rebalancing portfolios, seeking to invest in renewables, saying we are moving away from the fossil fuel to renewables, and then the opportunities that are there and all of that. But then we are talking about $20 billion deep water oil investment in Nigeria's own climate commitment. So how does this defeat, or do you think it actually defeats, or it's still in sync with our own commitment to, climate change, renewables, and all of that? Are we not taking steps backward?
No, we're actually taking the right steps forward. And so we need to understand the energy mix. Energy mix is a combination of different energy sources. So there's fossil fuel, there's renewable, and they will all exist together. Right. The notion that we are going to abandon fossil fuel in its entirety is difficult to see.
No, I didn't ask about abandoning it in its entirety, but I'm saying our commitment to it, because we're supposed to be moving largely towards renewables. When you talk about EVs, you talk about solar, you talk about, but then we're still talking about oil exploration.
So I'll take it a step further. Right. Your glasses has hydrocarbons in it. The material used to make the glasses. Your clothes, the threads, have hydrocarbon in it. Your buttons. So there are things that oil and gas can do, and there are things that renewable can do. The renewable is not going to replace certain things. So the hydrocarbon has multiple components in it. When you distill and you refine, you're going to get the lighter ends, naphtha gas, that will be used for petrochemical, make polypropylene and stuff like that. That will never be replaced by this thing. The fertilizer will be used for agriculture and stuff like that. You're not going to use renewable to do that. So we are still going to produce oil and gas. Now, Nigeria is also a gas country. We have even more gas than oil. So we have to explore these resources and use these resources to industrialize. Okay, we are going to clean up the process. We are going to ensure that we do not, destroy the environment. But we are going to have to use both of them. Now, there will be natural gravitation towards value. The day EVs and renewables become commercially viable, you don't have to force anybody to do that. People will naturally gravitate towards the cheap source. Today, it's not economically viable. So do you want to destroy and create poverty, destroy the economies, create poverty, while trying to save the environment, or create a balance where you can spend money, keep up energy costs at a proper level, while also maturing that renewable energy? Even the material being made for solar plants and all are all materials made from from hydrocarbons, the panels, the metals, everything. So you need this oil and gas to develop that industry, yes.
This is the most brilliant response.
I know, it's such a brilliant response, I must say. But I want to speak about this as well. Are there any disadvantages for us for this, investment? Oftentimes they say if we are not, on the table, we'll be in the menu. So, what are some of the disadvantages? And a quick one, just two questions in one. Also, we've been saying that Nigeria first when it comes to oil and gas, and people have said, Dangote can do it all. Dangote, we can just, only have the Dangote refinery giving us fuel and all of that because we're saying Nigeria first. So I just want you to also touch on that for me. But most importantly, what are our disadvantages? How should we negotiate that we're still standing tall?
Okay. So let's take it one by one.
Yeah.
The first one is disadvantages. I can't see any.
Yeah. Okay.
In actual fact, it's brilliant for the country. It's brilliant in several ways. Look at it this way. Every activity within your economy signals to the world how well you're seen or perceived. So Shell in itself is like a country based on what they control. I always say that there are certain institutions whose capacity is that of a country. So the gentleman, the president of Shell or the CEO of Shell is like a president in the world. So when that kind of person says, I'm coming to bed with you, it signals to the world that somebody serious is taking you very seriously. So money is selective. I would say it's a zero-sum game. There's no new money being created. It's a reallocation of capital.
That's right.
So the more serious people say, I'm doing business with you, people are saying, I'm following the smart money. Why is Shell looking at you? Shell just divested their onshore assets, 2.4 billion, when it's to Renaissance. And they're putting in 7 billion last year. They're going from that 20 billion. What's going on here? Like we said, this administration has created an environment where serious people can now say, I will put money in here. So I can only see the upside. Now, it doesn't mean it will happen. It means that if you continue in this trajectory, if you do the right things, if you give us the investment-backed incentives, I will do this.
Okay.
So I can't see the downside.
No downside.
Now,
okay.
you say Nigeria first.
Yeah.
So you need to understand the different terrains in oil and gas. When you come to land, it's almost Nigerian heavy now. Land is easy. So everything in the world, if done on land, is easier than if done on water. If I want to build a house today on land, I buy cement, pile or whatever, draft, and I build.
Yeah.
If I'm going on land, first I have to reclaim land. So it's 10 times the price of a house on land. Because on water, on deep water, I have to first of all have access to that. The capital required, there is no Nigerian that has the capacity today to go deep offshore. Now, I'd like to call numbers. We say Dangote is valued at about $20 billion, his valuation. This is one investment by Shell, $20 billion. You want Dangote to empty his entire investment to make one investment? Makes no sense. So we don't have.
No, you could have because he said he actually borrowed.
No, but you can't borrow more than your capacity. I'm just saying that, and also even if he borrows, he wouldn't borrow past his capacity. I'm saying we don't have the capacity as Nigerians.
So even if you are the richest man in Africa, you invest wisely.
Invest wisely. That's correct.
Yeah, but this one, so I want to get it. What are you saying? Do you think that, in Nigeria, we should monopolize and just have Dangote? I know why I'm asking this.
No, this is offshore. Dangote is refinery.
Yeah.
Okay, this is...
No, I'm taking you there, to that conversation, because you're an expert in oil and gas, so I just want to know as well, what do you think? Because oftentimes people say that we should prioritize Nigeria first. If Dangote can produce the amount of fuel that we need, why do we have to export from outside?
So, as every economy, you need balance. You have to support local production as much as possible, but you also have to create a fair economy. Okay, so it's on the government to continue what they've done so far, encourage local production, but also ensure that you don't put yourself in a position where you're now at the mercy of a cartel in that sense.
Yeah.
So in the Western world, you have customer protection agencies that protect that. Here, we typically use the economic forces. So I would say to the largest extent, you have to protect local investors and local investments. And that is not only Nigerians investing locally. If a white man is investing in Nigeria, or a foreigner, let me use the word, sorry, you have to protect that investment also. So I'm all for protecting investments in country and make sure that they work. I'm also all for ensuring that you do not put us in a position where we are exposed to price manipulation.
Okay.
All right. One of the biggest problems we have in Nigeria as a country is regulating businesses, in ensuring that businesses don't behave like rascals. Businesses protect Nigerians working in those businesses. In this proposal that Shell is putting together, how Nigerian heavy is it going to be as far as employment is concerned? How Nigerian heavy is it going to be as far as environmental pollution is concerned? These are the things that are bothering a lot of people, because still Shell, again, so many different stories about pollution, about staff welfare, about this, about that, was making the pages of the newspaper when they were still very strong in Nigeria. This, to me, is a comeback, that they are doing. So, do we have a regulation side of this deal when the deal comes? Do we have something like that as a country or as a people that we're putting forward to share?
So, the Nigerian government, through the PIA, through the NUPRC, the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission, have a framework to manage this interaction. Okay. Also, through the office of the SC to the SC Energy to the president, there's been massive interaction between the IOCs and the Nigerian organization as a government. Also, you have the Nigerian Content Development and Management Board, NCDMB, whose job it is to ensure that it's a balanced investment. Okay, I use the word balance, being that you create opportunities for Nigerians without creating a cost crisis. So you could say, oh, only Nigerians should do X and Y, but at what cost? If Nigerians cannot produce this bucket, right, and you now say it must be Nigerians only, then a Nigerian has to go and import it and bring it in. You're just creating rent.
A lot, yeah.
Okay, you're just creating rent. Okay,
yeah.
So that's for Nigerian content. That is giving Nigerians a contract to go and import what we cannot produce. So I think there's been some streamlining and alignment between the government of Nigeria and the operators of the industry to ensure that these things are done properly. There's the right framework. So NUPRC, NCDMB, NNPC itself, the SA to the president, there's constant, interaction and alignment between all these organizations to protect Nigerian people.
Is it that they are learning, they have learned from their mistakes? Because these organizations you mentioned, they were there some 10, 15 years ago.
Yes, but 10, 15 years ago and today are totally different times.
Yes.
Let's forget about the administration. Let's talk about even you as an individual. 15 years ago, you were not this smart. You've learned over 15 years. So we've been getting better as we go.
Right. So, well, since the 1930s, I also want to historically, backdate some of the things that had happened, with the Shell, which is some of the concerns raised, environmental degradation, the fact that they also have issues with the host communities and all of that, and although other lawsuits and disputed licenses. Remember the famed OPL 245 type of, disputes that happened at the time. But Shell is saying something. It's saying that with the current administration, we won't forget about administration, because looking at this current administration where they're coming in, they said with this current administration, the president had signaled and showed the world that we have healthy climate for investment. So investors are already looking into coming into Nigeria. Now the president is in Turkey, it's been to Germany, it's been to India, sealing deals, even UAE recently. And these are oil markets, these are oil giants who are producing oil in large capacity, even in Brazil as well. You remember I've forgotten the Brazil oil deal that they also did recently. What does this say about the Nigeria's economy that is now attracting the bees because of the honey that they've seen in Nigeria? So much so that when they come and do their exploration and exploitation, it does not impact us negatively in the long run. So what do we see between now and 5 years or 10, 10 years to come?
So first of all, from where I sit as an industry participant, it's good news so far. Okay, there are reforms, fiscal reforms, FX reforms, governance reforms that is giving confidence to investors. Okay, who are we competing against as a country? So let's forget about the West. Let's talk about emerging economies. You're competing with Guyana, for example.
Yeah.
You're competing with the Gulf of
Guinea.
Mexico.
Gulf of Mexico. Yeah.
Okay, good. Africa has Brazil and all those people in that frontier.
I think Brazil, Petrobras.
Yeah.
That was also
Petrobras, yeah.
Okay, good.
Petrobras.
Exxon went to Guyana. And Exxon found oil, and Exxon had the right environment. So much that Exxon divested their assets in Europe, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, and said, based on the physical environment here, I'd rather sell off my Nigerian business, my Cameroonian business, my European business, and focus on Guyana. That is money going in that direction. What the government has done this time is to say to the world, I am open for business. I am ready to give you terms that make sense for the Nigerian people and for you as an investor. Yeah. So you're seeing money coming into the country. Again, I would look at the flow of cash. Yeah. People say money is leaving. If money is leaving my environment, it's in economics, it's a leakage. You don't want that. You want money to come into your business.
Capital flight.
So capital flight. So when we were hearing about divestments, I wasn't worried because it's natural. These people have spent almost 60 years onshore Nigeria.
Since 1930, yeah.
Okay, so it's time for them to hand over that mature business to Nigerians, and they've done that, which is responsible of them. Now they're saying, but I'm not taking my money away. I'm going to go to areas where you Nigerians do not have the capacity today, and I'm going to operate there. And if you continue this trajectory, in the next X amount of years, you'll begin to see Nigerians or Nigerian-led organizations begin to go offshore. So you get a drill rig, for example, to drill offshore. Maybe it's about $500,000 a day just to drill offshore. Okay, you're going to drill for X amount of, let's assume, 2 months. Okay, that's billions.
Billions of dollars already.
Okay, now you may or may not find. What if you don't find? Who carries the losses? Only the big guys who have a big portfolio that are able to offset that loss. So in Guyana, for example,
does it include the Bokia, the recent one that the state is talking about? It's in Bonga Southwest kind of a thing. Which area are they looking at precisely?
Shell?
Shell, yeah.
No, so Shell is going to the Bonga. So Bonga is a block, OM 118. Okay, so there's a geographical demarcation of the boundaries of this block. They found oil there. They've produced about 1 billion barrels of oil so far. And they're saying, I'm making more investments in this same basin. So it's managed risk. It's not, I'm not going to front. I'm not going to go and find something new. I'm going to look within what I already have and see how I can drill more within this proven area.
That's right.
Okay, and to maintain and sustain production so that in 10 years' time, I'm saying declines I cannot manage.
That's right.
But because of our time quickly, I just want to speak on this because oftentimes we're glad that we're getting this kind of investments. We're speaking about the fact that, because our economy is stable, this new administration is doing a fantastic job. But what are some of the things that we need to do to continue to have, this kind of investment? Because when we speak about these investments, we speak about job opportunities. I speak mainly for the youth because I'm a Gen Z, I'm for the youth, So what are some of the things that as a country we need to continue doing to get these kind of, heavy investments that will help us?
So, short of sounding political, I would say they should just continue doing what they've been doing. Okay, we've seen when this government started, as everything in life, there was certain bold reforms. Okay, the president came on day one and said, for example, no more fuel subsidy. That was very bold. There was some backlash from the media, from the masses, and all. They stayed their course. They did it very well. Today, we are better for it. Okay? There are reforms in FX. They've been able to maintain currency at a certain stable rate. They've also changed the way we buy currency from the bank so that it's transparent, so people can determine what currency looks like. Those reforms and those things are going to keep people saying, I like what they're doing. So even the World Bank gave a very good, rating or very good outlook, positive outlook for the next few years.
The GDP.
So just continue doing what they're doing.
Yes. All right.
Okay, let us look at the impact on the average Nigerian on the street. If this $20 billion is sunk into this business, how does it benefit Priye that lives in southeast?
especially in Bayelsa. I think that's where
River State.
It's offshore.
Offshore. I think those
and also Lagos as well. They share going Lagos as well.
To affect in different ways. First of all, if you go offshore to drill, right, you're going to have again water. So you're limited by land and all. You're going to store all your materials somewhere in Port Harcourt, very likely, or in Warri. Okay, so that place would employ people to, even if it's security guards, to watch these materials and all. You're going to do some studies. So the corporates that work there who have the capacity to do certain studies will do the seismic studies or whatever it is that needs to be done.
Definitely.
When you're going to import certain things, even if it's just pipes, there are certain activities that have been designated as local content sensitive. So certain services must be given to local Nigerians. All of this is skilled.
But not just Nigerians, professional, those who understand the value chain. So not Priye that you mentioned.
No. But
at the end of the day, Priye will get something.
Correct.
Priye will gain at the end of the day.
Even if he was a security guard, he would guard the materials.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
But more than that, the federal government then earns taxes. and is able to do roads. So Pierre can ride his bicycle on the road.
True,
Okay.
true.
There are other
And the
state
company
taxes.
also in turn
Yeah.
also do some
Correct.
things for
and
the
then there are
communities
CSR
as
the
well.
companies do.
That's right.
And there's
Health,
the host community
schools and all of
funds
that.
that they also contribute to.
Yeah.
It's, it's a what's it called? It's
Multifaceted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so quite interesting. I think I don't know why the director hasn't said anything because we are almost out of time.
Yeah.
Even out of time at the same time. But all the same, when you look at Shell, is it only Shell that is looking at exploring our oil? Because we know that Shell, it's much more talked about, much more celebrated. Those that are currently operating, how far-reaching has the law, the PIA, how far-reaching has it, been implemented?
So about March last year, Total also took FID on Ubeta, that's a gas field. Okay, so they're drilling more gas. For more gas, it goes to an LNG. So that's one of the IOC. Chevron just also found something, the new Awori 7. So I'm saying that it's not just Shell, it's everybody's looking for, everybody's investing, but the news comes as it comes. So I think Chevron found this last week.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a big discovery, so that's good. Total made their investment last year. So everybody's in it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ifeanyi. Great insights, really great insights. You sure know your audience. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Well, still ahead on TVC Breakfast, we will focus on ways to end the cycle of the grid collapse in Nigeria.